Alright, so we'll go over your quiz first. You really didn't do any major mistakes, just kind of forgot some stuff here and there. So we'll just go over it real quick. For number 1 here, I just kind of wrote the answer down there, and you basically, all you did was forgot that, since this was negative 10x, it just becomes the derivative of negative 10x is just negative 10, so you just kind of forgot to bring the negative 10 right to here. But other than that, you got everything else right, so just tack on that negative 10 and you're golden. For number 2, I just kind of rewrote this this negative 1 over z as z to the negative 1. Same thing, just rewrote it. So basically you had it all almost right. You just, if you were to rewrite it like this, I think then you could bring this negative 1 down. So that makes this negative and negative a positive. That's why there's a plus sign there. And then we just subtract another 1 from that to become negative 2. So that's how we get this here. So you were real close, just kind of made a silly mistake, no big deal. For number 3, we'll go ahead and basically you had pretty much everything right here. This term I just have represented right here, and then all we forgot was that anything that, any term or whatever that has an x attached to it, just like up here with the negative 10, we just drop the x and keep the whatever number is attached. So we need to keep the 11 there. So that's why I brought that down. And then in this, excuse me, in this last term here, we don't have an x at all here. So this is just like a regular number, like a 2 or anything. So without an x, it kind of just goes away, and so that's why we're just left with this here as our answer. All right, number 4. You were pretty close. I think you just kind of got confused with a few things, but no big deal. Let's just deal with this 2 to the x first. Remember, the derivative of anything with x in the exponent is just itself, so the 2 to the x times the natural log of whatever is in the little base here. Alright, so that's where I get the 2 to the x times the ln of 2, or natural log of 2. That just comes from the derivative of this term here. And yeah, so then we'll deal with this one. Just remember that when you're taking a derivative with e, it's very similar. It just kind of stays the same. We would just need to bring this negative 2 down to multiply it by that 3. And that's where the negative 6 kind of comes in right here. And then this stuff just stays the same. So it's just negative 6 e to the negative 2x plus 1. Alright, cool. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on and start your homework here. You're doing pretty good with the chain rule, it looks like. Let's see. Did real good on number 1, so we'll go ahead and start with number 2. Let's see here, sorry. So for number 2, it's very similar to number 1. This 3, where does that come from? It comes from bringing this 3 out front, multiplying, and then of course we keep this stuff in here, and then we have to subtract by 1. So that's where this 2 comes from. Alright, and then we just take the derivative of the inside. 5 times 3 is, it's a negative 3, so negative 15. 5 minus 1 is 4, so that's where all of this comes from here. And then I just go ahead and simplify. So these two terms can be combined. So we just say 3 times, because this is all being multiplied together. So I just say 3 times negative 15 that's where this negative 45 comes in. And so yeah, 3 times negative 15x to the 4th is negative 45x to the 4th. And then we can't do anything here unless we wanted to like expand this by foiling and doing all sorts of stuff. So we're good. This is our final answer. So yeah, it's real similar to number 1. And I didn't do 3 and 4 because, you know, 1 and 2 are just very similar to 3 and 4. So we can just kind of go over them real quick. We'd bring this 3 down, and I'll go ahead and just write it out. We'd bring this 3 down, and then keep this stuff on the inside here. And then we have to multiply by the derivative of the inside. So that's going to be, what, another negative 15x squared? Yep, so we have negative 15x squared. Oops, sorry. Getting sloppy. And then we can, again, multiply this 3 with this negative 15x squared. So we'll go ahead and this all equals negative 45x squared. Sorry, there's a 5 in there somewhere. X squared times all of this stuff in here, which is, of course, negative 5x cubed minus 3. Okay, cool. So I think you've kind of got the hang of this now, so I think you can do number 4. If you have any questions, let me know. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to move on to number 6 here. So there's a little cut. There's a little kind of a cut in the video there. But yeah, moving on to number 6. Pretty straightforward. This first step here, I just kind of change, I rewrite this with the 1/2 up here, because that's just what this means, you know. So here for the derivative, where is this negative 4x coming from? Well, we have to take the derivative of the inside, so I just multiply by 2 and I get the negative 4, then subtract by 1, and that's where the negative 4x comes from. Alright, and then we remember where does this come from? We just kind of keep this hanging out here, and then we have to multiply by the 1/2, so that's where this 2 comes from on the bottom. Multiplying by 1/2, it's just kind of rewriting it with the 2 down there. And then over here, I just rewrite again. This 2 and that negative 4 kind of cancel out and becomes a negative 2. And then I just move all of this stuff here down to the bottom. So it's a negative 2x squared plus 1 to the positive 1/2 when you move it down to the bottom. And a positive 1/2, that's just the square root. So I rewrite it as the square root. Alright, so that one is all finished up. Alright, moving on to number 7. It's really similar to number 6. What am I doing here? I'm just, again, rewriting it. And then we start to take the derivative, and where does this negative 8x cubed come from? That's just the derivative of the inside. So now we've got the derivative of the inside, and we'll go ahead and multiply by this 1/3, and that's where this 3 on the bottom comes from. And then we have to subtract by 1 up here, and that's where the negative 2/3 comes from. Go ahead and bring that all down to the bottom, and then we get our final answer here. And then we're good to go. Alright, let me know if you have any questions over that stuff. Alrighty, so we'll go ahead and tackle this next part. You did a great job on 9, 10, and 11. I double checked your work and everything looked really good. So for number 12, I kind of approached this with like I don't know, it's not a real different mindset, but let's see. I kind of just write right here. I say, you know, this first little guy here is A, and then I say that the second one is B, and so then I go through and, you know, just kind of find the derivative of each of those. And so that's just all I've done here. Okay. Now, when I put everything together here, I kind of have written it out for you what I'm doing. And this is just the product rule. So we're just taking the derivative of the first term times the second term plus the derivative of the second term times the first term. Okay, so I've just written that there, and we have all of our pieces that we need. We found everything already, so now we just plug all of those into there. And our 15x squared that's just a prime, or the derivative of a. Remember, this is a. Alright, and then, let's see, that's going to be multiplied times b, and then, sorry, that's missing there. So that's a negative 4. So this is a negative 4x to the 5th minus 3. This is just b. And now it says plus this, but remember, this is a negative here. Right? It became a negative when we took the derivative of this inside. So that's where we get this little minus sign. And now we're just taking a times the derivative of b, which we have here. So it's this times this here, and that's why we have the 5x cubed minus 3 on top, and then the, obviously the negative 4x to the 5th minus 3 to the 3/4. That's no longer a negative. Okay, that's not a negative sign. That's just a little mark. But remember, this should be. I'm sorry here. This should be not negative. Not negative. Right? Because we're going to be subtracting 1 from that to get it here, and we're moving it down to the bottom, which makes it positive. Okay. So for 13, give a function that requires 3 applications of the chain rule. So I've just written something with, that's raised to a power 3 times, because, if, let's see, if we go ahead and just, if we want to find the derivative of this, we're going to need to, find the derivative of the inside. Well, that takes finding the derivative of the inside, which takes finding the derivative again of the inside. So it's just using the chain rule 3 different times. Okay. Alright, if you have any questions, let me know, and I can make a follow-up video if you need. Alright, good luck with your homework.